Hi everyone, my name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be walking through some Codewars problems. So I am a beginner in Python, so really just trying to walk through this and show that you don't always have to know the answer necessarily, and really just trying to learn it early on as well, just like probably a lot of people. So yeah, just going to walk through a Codewars problem. It's a 7 KYU, so it's kind of a beginner, easier problem. But yeah, I want to walk through it. Really, I'm hoping out of these videos just to get, more comfortable talking through my solutions, what they mean, can help me, can help you. So yeah, excited to kind of walk through this. Okay, so for this problem, this is the cut array into smaller parts solution, and so essentially it's saying to write a function that takes two arguments, both an array and the chunk size. The array is to be split into smaller parts, and the chunk size is a positive integer, which is the size of each chunk. So initially you can see here the array is probably a list, which we'll see later on it is, and then the chunk size is really similar, I think, to step size in terms of slicing different strings and things like that. So this function should split the given array into parts with the given chunk size and return the result as a nested array. If the array cannot be evenly divided by the size, the last part may contain fewer elements. So if an array of size 123 is given and the chunk size is 10, the function will split the array into 13 smaller parts. The first 12 parts will each have the size of 10, and the final part will contain the remaining 3 elements. So gives an example here. So given an array of 1, 2, 3, the chunk size of 1, the solution should be a list with each number also being a list of size 1 of chunks, so 1, 2, 3. And then here this should give out a list with a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So this is the uneven scenario that they mentioned above. So I have solved this, but I'm going to walk through it again just to make sure it makes sense. So initially here, the one thing I know we will need is essentially an output list that will be blank to start off with, because we're eventually going to write the solution that will go into the output. And then I know that we are eventually going to return our output as well. So like I said, within this function, the chunk size kind of keys into using a string slice. So really a website that I like is the Geeks for Geeks, and this kind of talks through string slicing. And so basically I think what we're going to need here is a start, an end, and a stop. So the start is when the index slicing starts, the end is when it ends, and then the step is really going to be that chunk size. So from what we've got our empty output list, and then from here we need to make a for loop. So for I, which is going to be the index in range, we're going to start at 0, so we're just going to start at the first number in the array, and then do length of the array, and then the chunk size. So what this is saying is that for each index in the range of starting at 0, ending at the length of array, so this is saying no matter what the length of the array, this is where we're going to end, and then the step size in between that is going to be the chunk size. So from here, it's fairly simple in the fact that we know that we need to now append whatever this slice is going to be to the output. It's just a matter of making sure that you're formatting the portion of the slice correctly. So we did output dot append, but this is the question of what are we trying to append. So for each I, which is the index, it's going to start at I, and then we only want like a certain portion of that. So for instance, over here we want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so it needs to kind of add on top of each other. So after 2, we would need to know to add 3, 4 in the next one, so that would be I plus the chunk size. And actually we need to put this all, we need to slice the array, so we need to have something that this is slicing. We can't just append the I and the I plus chunk size, but we're taking a portion of the array. So this would be saying take array starting at I. If I were 0 plus the chunk size of 2, that would give us, we'd be starting at 0 and we'd plus 2, so 1, 2 would be our first option, and then we'd essentially go through and do plus 3, 4, and go throughout that method. So from here for I in range 0, range 0, start length array stop through the chunk size, output dot append the array I plus chunk size. Okay, so I'm going to test this, even though I think my test is currently hidden. So let's test. So it passed the basic test cases, and then from here, if we attempt it, it passed again. So yeah, first solution here on Codewars.